Pranam Sadhu.
Hari Om. Thank you so much. Let us start with a bhajan. You can sing along with me, but make sure you are muted. Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha 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 Ganesha Sharanam Ganesha Vagesha Sharanam Sharanam Vagesha 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 Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Sarisha Sharanam Sharanam Sarisha Sarisha Sharanam Sharanam Sarisha Sarisha Sharanam Sharanam Sarisa Sarisa Sharanam Sharanam Sarisha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Sharanam Ganesha. It's good to see some familiar faces in Northwest Indiana. It has been some time, and when Padmini contacted me, and it was a 2-day talk, so I that the best thing would be to talk on logic of spirituality, because so many of us in Chinmaya Mission have been listening to other Acharyas, Swamis, but question always comes that I have been listening for all these years, but there is no real inner transformation coming. Yes, I know a lot more than what the very first day I joined. But the quantum of joy that I should feel, which I understand through the scriptures, somehow still is attained. What am I missing? See, many of us from childhood onwards, you and I were taken to temple by our parents or elders in the family. And as children, we don't question. From that day onwards till today, we have accepted Bhagwan, perhaps without much inquiry. And the way we were taught is when you go to Mandir, you bow down to Bhagwan, ask for Sadbuddhi. And as you grow and go through school, college, etc., ask also Bhagwan to give you good grades. Thus, from childhood onwards, many of us have been only going to Mandir asking Bhagwan, give me this, give me that. But very rarely we tell Bhagwan, Bhagwan, change me. But we are still called religious. So this is one set of people who are religious. They believe themselves to be religious. And they live normal life like anybody else. Not much difference between them and the atheist. Atheist declares, I don't believe in God. Theists, these people who go to mandir say, we believe in God. And the atheist will say, but I don't see any difference in your life and my life. You live just the way I do. You also cheat on expense report. You also do this. You also. So where is your? And you can't deny. He questions. And then ultimately he says, if there is a real God, show me the God. And you and I who are going to mandir, you say, well, I can't show you, but there is a Krishna Murti in the mandir. So one are religious people, other is an atheist. The third category is the one who inquires who really God is. What is my relationship with the Jagat, the world that I see around me? And if there is a creator, what is my relationship with him? And who is the creator? So he is inquiring, perhaps making an effort to change his life so he can come to know God, but not making much progress as far as his inner joy is concerned. And there are those rare few who are not just happy with going to mandir and begging. They are neither atheist, they inquire, but they also follow the scriptures and make sincere efforts to live by what the scriptures say, and they see the unfoldment in their heart very beautifully. And such people, we call them Saint Mahatmas. So where is the difference and what is it that you and I have to do in order to progress? As I said, the atheist says, look, I don't believe in God. Really, what is the use of religion? In fact, they say religion is nothing but opium for the masses. And from their standpoint, you can't deny, because they say, look, so many people are going to temples and churches and mosques, etc. But you look at their life, going through the custom, they will want to go through the green channel. And if they stop them and they get caught, and what is it? The guy goes to temple every Sunday. Right? Think of it. Filling out IRS 1040. In other words, on the telephone, he may lie, I cannot come because I'm sick, while he may be watching TV at home. The so-called religious individual, so the atheist says, why should I really believe in religion? And then he says, look, the plant kingdom is there. They don't have Bhagwan. They don't need to go to temple. There is the entire life in ocean. So many different species of fish, from the smallest to whale. They don't need Bhagwan. And there are the birds and animals. They don't need any God. Why do human beings need God? And you and I, who are just going to mandir, praying to Bhagwan, suddenly get baffled that, this guy may be right. Because we don't think. If you argue with the same atheist that, yes, you are right, but tell me, you are saying that plants, animals, birds, they don't need God, so why do we? But my dear friend, have you ever thought that we human beings have Science, art, literature, law and order, politics. Plants don't have that. Animals don't have that. Birds don't have that. So why should we have that? Just go out and walk on the road and let's live a life where, in Hindi there is a kahavat, jiski lathi, uski bhains. Meaning whoever is stronger, he becomes victorious. Would you like to live in that kind of society, Mr. Atheist? Or if somebody attacks you, you would like the protection of a police? Now the animals don't have police. The stronger animal rules. If you say that why do we need religion, then I would say why do we need science? Animals don't have science. Animals don't have law and order. So thus when you argue, the atheist doesn't stand a chance. Because we human beings are well developed. Unlike the plants and animals who are controlled by their instinct, we are not controlled by our instinct, but we are blessed with intellect and we ask questions. All living beings other than human beings are utilitarian. Majority of humans are also utilitarian, but at least humans have a choice to rise above their only utilitarian attitude. What do I mean by that? A plant doesn't care as long as it gets water and it sees water, the roots will go there, suck the water and give it to the entire plant. When the sun is in a certain position, the plant will orient the leaves in a manner so that it gets maximum photosynthesis. Animal is walking by and it sees an apple has fallen. Animal will eat the apple or first smell it. If it's hungry, it will eat it. If it doesn't want to eat, it will walk away. Look at cows, goats, etc. They're always head down. Where is the grass I want to eat or the leaves? So all they are concerned with, is it useful to me? Then I will eat it. And after eating, I will rest. And their life is good. They don't question why the apple is growing on the tree or why this is growing and why should I eat, why should I not? No, it feels like eating, it will eat. There is no questions asked. But think of Isaac Newton lying under a tree, resting, and suddenly an apple falls on his nose. Now, majority of human beings, the masjid going, temple going, church going will say, look, this morning I prayed to Bhagwan. I don't want to steal anybody's property. I'm going and I'm just resting under a tree. I know this tree and the farm belongs to a particular farmer, but the tree fell on me. Krishna, I prayed this morning and you are so kind. I'm not stealing. The apple fell on me. I will eat it. But not Isaac Newton. What did he do? He picks up the apple and he looks at it. And he inquires, why did the apple fall down and not go up? In other words, he observed an effect, apple falling down. And as a human being, he was curious. Why did it come down? It took him 21 years to figure out the law of gravity, that everything gets attracted to the center of the earth. An ordinary human being, apple fell, he will pick up and he will eat it and walk away. So human being, in fact, every one of you listening, at one or other time in your lifetime, a question rises within, especially in some moments of grief or when you are alone and lonely. Many of you growing up in India, sleeping in the terrace. And in India, when we grew up, at least years ago, there wasn't as much light. So the sky was full of stars. And you wonder, who has created all this? Where did all these stars, the sun, the moon, the very Mother Earth where I am, who created this? Where did it all come from? What is the purpose? Just like Isaac Newton wondered why the apple fell down. But he pursued it for 21 years. You and I pursue it until the next Binata Gitmala song comes and we forget. In other words, we are so preoccupied with the worldly things that such thoughts do come, but we don't pursue it. Like the animal, majority of us are utilitarian. But the fact remains that you and I, the human being, do have this faculty of inquiry as to where did all these things come from. And as an individual inquires that if I see the moon, the sun, the earth and everything, the effect, there has got to be a cause from which this effect has come. Now, mind you, the scientist, the economist, the politician, the artist, they all inquire into their own field. But mind you, a scientist has a very limited field. He only inquires about the phenomenon. For example, many years ago, when they saw the lightning, and they were, what is happening up in the sky where lightning? And they pursued and they figured out why lightning happens. Where do the clouds come from? And they figured out that the sun warms up the ocean water and the vapor creates a cloud. Thus, the scientist has a field, but very narrow. So does the artist, so does the politician, and so does the economist. The economist only worries about how to harness the resources that are available, distribute it in the best manner so that the employment, etc., is well maintained and everybody's standard of living is good. Thus, each inquires into his or her own field to find out the effect and the cause. But the rishis were not concerned with a particular field. Their inquiry was not about economics or science, but this entire, not only Mother Earth, not the solar system, not our Akash Ganga, but all galaxies. In other words, the universe, the Brahmanda, where did it come from? And they contemplated. They retired into the quiet valleys of Himalayas. And just like Isaac Newton, they spent lifetimes, years. When I say lifetime, meaning one rishi contemplated whatever he understood, passed it on to his disciple, until at last they discovered that three different laws about the universe. Please pay attention. Those of you who are writing, you may want to write it. Three laws about the universe. That there cannot be an effect without a cause. There can be no effect without a cause. When I see the waves in the ocean, the effect, ocean is the cause of waves. When I see the mud pots, clay pots, clay is the cause. If there is an effect, there has got to be a cause. Diwali is coming. Dasera was just on 25th of October. And it is a tradition, especially among Hindus. And you are newly married young people and you want to go to an ornament shop and buy something on Dhanteras Day, which is, I believe, next Friday or Saturday. Now, when you go to the jeweler shop and see all these different gold ornaments, the effect, you know as a human being, that there is a cause which is gold. Out of gold alone, all this effect has come. Similarly, if this entire Brahman, the universe, the Mother Earth that I see, inert as well as sentient, what is the cause? The effect, the Brahman is there. So there has got to be a cause from which this effect has come. Right now, I know not what the cause is. But this cause is something we call him Bhagwan. The philosophers call them the truth. But there is that something from which this universe has come. The second law is cause is one, effects are many. Gold is one, ornaments are many. Ocean is one, waves are many. In Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, in the Gulf, Indian Ocean, Arabian Ocean, near Australia, where you go, there are waves. We give different names to different oceans, but oceans are all connected, one ocean. So cause is one, effects are many. Wherever there is an effect, there is a cause. Cause is one, effects are plural. The dreamer is one, many people in the dream. And the third law the Rishis discovered in their contemplation is that when you take away the cause from the effect collapses, it does not remain. When you remove the gold from the ornaments do not remain. Take away the ocean, waves are not there. Take away the clay, all the clay pots are not there. If this is true, then you and I, the human being, all the living beings in the world, that is the effect that we see all the living beings. The plant, animal, the birds, the creatures in the ocean, and 7.23 billion people. This is the effect, the living being. What is the cause which appears to be many and which, if removed, all this become useless, nothing? And when we contemplate, when we think, every one of us, take away the life from each one of us. All of us are calcium, phosphorus, water, ocean, right? Akash, Vayu, space, we will not. In fact, the entire planet Earth will be called a dead planet, isn't it? Remember, all effects, Karya is a Karana, cause. The Jagat is here, so there has got to be a cause. Effects are many. From one cause pervades into many effects. You and I all are alive. Many of us, right? Billions. But that which pervades all of us, the very cause without which we are not what we are, remove the cause, take away the gold, ornaments are no more. Take away the life from you and I. Gaurang uncle cannot speak the next word if the life ebbs away. Each one of you listening, if the life is taken away, you cannot hear the next word. So the Rishis discovered that this life principle is the very cause Satyam, the very basis of the entire manifested universe, without which you and I are nothing. With it, we are everything. So now, you and I have to discover this very essence. Now, every one of us know, what are you? Oh, there is life in me. But when you ask, what do you mean by life? No, not. All we know at this time, friend, is the expression of life. That guy is so intelligent. She sings so beautifully. He can paint so well. In other words, the life is expressed through different people in different way. And we can identify, just like electricity functioning through the refrigerator gives cold thing. Electricity functioning through the heater gives heat. Functioning through the fan gives, air is moving. Thus, electricity we may not know, but its effects are known. Similarly, we know, I know this life. I know not the life. I know the expressions of life. And these living beings have this. So an average individual who pursues to know, when he says, I want to know God, what he really wants to know is this very essence in every one of us, without which you and I will not be alive. Not knowing this, we think that he's up there, and when I beg, occasionally he will say tathastu and give me something, and I'm happy, until again I go back and ask for something else. But that's not what it stops. What I want to know, what I really want, and I'm talking about average you and me, is what? I want sukha and I want santi, isn't it? Two things we all are looking for. I want santi and I want sukha. Pleasure, joy, I want to enjoy. And through that, but I also want santi. And many of us make a mistake. Wherever there is sukha at side one, please remember, santi cannot be there. I'm assuming majority of you have children. Your children give you sukh, they give you so much joy. Be honest. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. But do they santi? They cannot. It's not their fault, please understand. It is not their fault. But I worry about my children. And then I say, they do not give me santi. Thus, an individual at present not knowing, turn to God only for this or that. And really misses the. Now, friends, when you look around, every one of us living beings, they have three things. I hope most of you can see, I believe you can see the chart. All of us have physical body, we all have mind, and we have intellect. There are four things. Dead planet is matter, inert. Plants have physical body and an inkling of mind. Stone that has been lying there for ages is inert. The cause is the same. From one cause alone, the entire universe system. It is inert. Over a period of time, the stone gets pulverized into little, until at last a plant comes out of it. And plant has a physical body, life through what we call Om, and a beginning of mind. Beginning of mind meaning orients the leaves towards the sun and draws water, and that's all. It does not have any impact to do anything more. If you go with a saw to cut it, the plant will just stay there. On the contrary, animal has a physical body that is well developed, also has a well developed mind and a beginning of intellect. But you and I, the human beings, we have well developed physical body, well developed mind, and well developed intellect, which we always wonder what is the cause when I see the effect, and I want to pursue and find out what the cause is. And this is where the inquiry begins, as to do I really need to find out the cause, meaning do I really have to be religious? What's logic behind spirituality? Is it really necessary that I be a religious person? So what? There is a cause, there is a substratum, the truth. You call him, Narayan, Krishna. Why should I know him? The natural quest of a human being are only basically just like any animal. What? To reproduce, fill the belly, and to reproduce and be happy. So all of us have these three equipment called body, the mind, and the intellect. With the body, I perceive the world of objects. And as most of you know, we are called the perceiver of the objects, and we see so many things in the world and we perceive. With the mind, I feel the world of emotions. And with the intellect, I think the world of thoughts. So whenever an experience takes place, the body contacts the world of object through 5 organs of perception. The mind fills the world of emotions. Intellect thinks the world of thoughts. In other words, the BMI comes in contact with OET, and we say there arises an experience. If the experience is conducive, I say, aha. If it is not conducive, we say, I'm not happy, isn't it? Those who are listening right now, if you like what you hear, you say, this was good, I want to come back tomorrow and hear it. And others will say, tomorrow, I don't want to come back and listen. The experience is negative. Understand? Every experience that I have leaves behind an impression in my antakaran called mind and intellect, and it's called vasana. But let us leave the vasanas out right now. You and I want to be happy with the experience. Now, the body, mind, and intellect, friends, every one of us have observed. Each one of us came from our mother's womb, a small baby. Many of us now are old enough, in our 70s, and everybody in between, isn't it? Meaning what? The physical body is continuously changing. Please pay attention. Is your mind changing all the time or not? Suddenly there is a desire, lust rises. You are mad at your son. And when you see your son lying down and sleeping, 4-year-old, the one who is so naughty, mummy is tired, I'm so tired, I'm angry. And when the child is sleeping, etc., and the same mother who was so furious at her, he looks at it, what my angel little boy. Hasn't every mother experienced that? Each one of us have. Meaning what? My mind continuously changes. The one that I fell in love with and I got married, say, should I really go to a lawyer or just somehow live the rest of my life? That which I held to be dear, now it's not that dear to me. The job that you really wanted, my boss is so good, very challenging. After 3 years, your mind says, not really. If I can get a better opportunity, I think I'm looking now. Haven't we all experienced this? Every one of us have experienced this. Meaning what? The physical body changes, the mind changes. Almost, I can say, every one of you listening, either you have tried to share some, which is majority, or few among us have tried and made an effort to increase our weight, but body changes, the mind changes, and the intellect. Everybody living in America right now certainly knows their intellect changes. How many news interviews you have seen, right? I'm a lifelong Republican, but this time I'm voting for, or I voted for Joe Biden. Intellectually, I was convinced that Republicans are the best, but now I have changed based on my intelligence. I am no longer going to vote, Republican, but I'm voting for Joe Biden. And then some other guy comes, I'm a lifelong Democrat, but I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden, but I voted for Mr. Trump. What is this? My intellect changes. So there are many among us. I certainly is one of those who, when I was a little bit, 19, 20, and in college, I said, who needs religion? What religion? Intellectually convinced science alone is important. Nobody needs religion. With science, we can succeed. And I was fully convinced. And today, you are listening to me, and I'm talking about religion. That's what I was intellectually convinced, that it is opium for the masses. Now I'm a believer and not believer. I'm convinced. Meaning what? Intellect also changes. In other words, every one of us, we have body, we have mind and intellect, and we are continuously changing. And the world around, the world of objects, of course, it is in a state of flux, continuously changing, isn't it? What remains constant? Even the seasons change. Those of you who are in Northwest Indiana, now it is getting colder. In Houston, it is still not so cold. It's still in 70s, but it is summer was just around the corner. Now fall, pretty soon it will be winter. Meaning the world around me continuously changes. The food that we eat in India, we never thought of when we grew up about pizza, etc. But now food habits have also changed. Think of it. Emotions don't change. I love him so much. We are best of friends. We will never be separate. And now I don't know what happened. We loved each other, but lately I think mujhe dhoka de diya. He's not, not a loyal friend. How many partnership in a business, or two friends, or even couple, emotionally tied, right? Two body but one soul, etc. But then after a few years or few months, emotionally completely separated. Who hasn't experienced this with either a friend or a spouse or this or that? Always happens. And thoughts and ideas. Please mute yourself.
Done speaking.
Subbarao, should I continue or something is happening?
Uncle, I muted them.
You muted them? Okay, I think by mistake. Don't worry about it. So friends, the body, the mind, the intellect is continuing. The world around me is in state of flux. And in between, sandwiched, is me, the perceiver, feeler, thinker. What am I? The perceiver says, I am the body, functioning and coming in contact with the object. Through the mind, I feel the world of emotions. Through the intellect, I think the world of thoughts. And when BMI comes with OET, meaning when an experience takes place, I become happy because that pizza was so good, or the Diwali party was so good. Not right now, okay, it's COVID, but I'm talking in general, that it was so nice, really enjoyed. I want to repeat it, isn't it? But little do we understand that I am changing and the world is changing. So no matter how hard I try to eke out joy from the same experience, it cannot give me the kick that it gave me the first time, because the world is changing. and I am changing. And in this, I am trying to remain peaceful, sant, and I want to be happy. An impossible equation for a thinker. Do you now see the difference between a religious person and the one who really inquires as to who is God? The one who just is a religious person, I'm not condemning. But when he doesn't inquire, he goes on praying to Bhagwan, Bhagwan, please change my circumstances. I'm unable to get a job. I will work hard and there will be nothing but sukha. Right? Every one of us, if you've been in United States for 25 years and have been working, right? You and I, when I came in 60s, I had no money. Like any other student, we had no money. Right? At that time, what was the thought? Hey, Bhagwan, if I only have $5,000 in bank, I will never ask you for money. I'll be on the top of the world. And today, every one of us thought that if I have enough money, I will be the happiest person. And now with so much money in 401k, even without any rhyme or reason, market keeps going up. Right? Is that money really giving you any peace? Or shatters your peace into pieces? Think of it. Everything that you and I thought would give me happiness fails to give us happiness. It is not the fault of the things, but it is the very nature of the universe. The BMI changes, the OET changes. If I take myself to be the BMI, trying to eke out joy from OET, it is like riding on two horses with one foot on one horse, another foot on another horse, and going. Sooner or later, I will fall down. It is an impossibility. Are you with me? So the inquiry begins. Now the thing is that where exactly is happiness? Because many of us, as I said, are not interested in Bhagwan. I want Santi and I want to be happy. So where is this happiness and how can I get it? Now, friends, what happens? Each one of us has an OET. Now, if we inquire really, what is this physical body, mind, and intellect? When I say I'm the perceiver, feeler, thinker, when I say I'm a perceiver, meaning what? Perceiver of the world of objects through the body. And what is body? My body. I'm the body, isn't it? Perceiver of the emotions through what? My mind. I am the mind. Thinker of the thoughts through what? Through the intellect. I am an intelligent being. I am intelligent and I have intellect. Meaning what? I am the body. I am the mind. I am the intellect. The body. What is the mind? What is the intellect? If we analyze it, I came out of my mother's womb as a 7-pound child. The same 7-pound child in my mother's womb was nothing but practically weightless little speck. The sperm from my father and the seed in my mother coming together. When they came together and a baby is conceived, from that point till for next 9 months, the entire 7 pounds of baby that comes out of mother's womb is nourished by what? Nourished by the food eaten by the mother. Nay. Even the virya, the sperm that my father gave, and the seed in the mother are nothing but product of food, isn't it? Food eaten by mother, converted into blood, converted into the seed. Food eaten by the father, converted into the virya or the sperm. Thus, food alone modified into the seed and the sperm is conceived, again nourished by the food eaten. Out comes the baby, 7 pounds to toe, is nothing but product of food. And today, 280 pound, 35 years old, trying to lose some weight. Where did from 7 pounds to 280 pound come? Every ounce of his what? The roti and the idli and the sambar and salad and all that we have eaten, minus what we have discarded. The difference is the 273 pounds plus the 7 pound that mom gave, isn't it? But where does the food come from? The food comes from Mother Earth. Mother Earth is inert, isn't it? From Mother Earth, the plant rises and the plant food gets converted into food. Even non-vegetarian, you say, I don't eat food from Mother. Even non-vegetarian. Suppose if you are eating a bakri, goat, what it? Plants, isn't it? Please understand. So ultimately, food comes from Mother Earth alone. The only difference is people directly go to the source, the plants, and eat it, whether it is wheat, rice, etc. In other words, an intelligent person will buy Wrigley chewing gum and put it in his mouth and chew it. But an unintelligent person will say, hey, would you chew the chewing gum? And after you have chewed it, give it to me and I'll chew it. That's what we do. Oh, Bakri, you eat the grass. Oh, sheep, you eat these vegetables. Oh, cow, you eat the vegetables, like the chewing gum. And then I will eat you. If you are intelligent, you go directly to the source. And the source is nothing but Mother Earth converted into plant. And by me, is it? So 100% of this physical body is made up of matter. Now, is matter inert or not? Matter is inert. But are you inert or conscious? Each one of us will have to say, hey, I am conscious. Now, where does mind come from? Mind and intellect, as most of you know, is called Sukshma Sarir. This is called Sthula Sarir, gross body. This is called Sukshma Sarir. Sukshma meaning subtle. Subtle body is also product of food alone, but it is the very essence of food, not the gross part. Most of it gets rejected. Grosser part goes into making the physical body, and the very essence of the food that we eat goes into making the mind and the intellect. It is subtle. And it is this subtle mind and intellect where the life principle, remember, each one of us is conscious. Body is inert. Mind and intellect also made up of matter, but I am a conscious being. I am alive. So how is it that this inert body is alive? Please pay attention. This life principle, Chaitanya, Narayan, every religion says what? Just as the ocean pervades all the waves, just as gold pervades all ornaments, causes in and through. Please understand. The effect is the entire manifested universe. The Narayan pervades the universe. So in his presence, this very Sukshma Sarir, which is matter, becomes conscious. Once it becomes conscious, identified with the body also becomes conscious. Something like you stand in front of the wall next to your mirror. The wall is also matter. Mirror is also matter. Stand in front of the wall. Your reflection is not there because it is gross. Mirror is sukshma, subtle. You stand in front of the mirror. You get reflected. Similarly, Chaitanya is everywhere, but it does not get reflected in the body. It gets reflected in the mind and intellect. and the mind and intellect, though inert, becomes conscious. Once it is conscious, it identifies with the body also becomes conscious. And once this BMI, made up of matter, remember, from very mother's womb onwards, made up of matter, now becoming conscious, comes in contact with the world of object, emotions, and thoughts. And he says, I am the perceiver, feeler, thinker. And the minute I'm the perceiver, feeler, and thinker, then you say, look, but you are what? Without this, you are nothing. Right? And the perceiver, feeler, thinker, the ego says, what Bhagwan? If there is Bhagwan, show me Bhagwan. I don't need. Think of it. If there is Bhagwan, show me. There is no such thing as Bhagwan. That is as good as saying that I don't care about my great grandfather. If he's there, show me. I don't need him. I am here. But only a fool will say that. An intelligent person will say, I am here. Therefore, my father is here. Therefore, his father and his father, meaning great grandfather, is. Similarly, the very fact that this Chaitanya is everywhere is functioning through BMI, making it conscious. But the perceiver feeler, in his ignorance, says, what Bhagwan? And he says, I want to play with the world around me. And I want to. So, where is the source of happiness? So this is the situation of an individual wanting to go to Mandir. I want this, I want that, meaning I, the perceiver, thinker, continuously praying. Atheist doesn't believe, he makes effort. Religious person turn to Bhagwan as well as make efforts to continuously make my circumstances conducive. I can eke out happiness from whatever I contact. A friend comes and tells you, hey, we just came back from Alaska and the cruise is so beautiful. It's like being in heaven. And once you go to Alaska and take that helicopter ride, and when you land on that iceberg, ice in there for hundreds of years, and finally when you land there, and there are those dogs, and you take that 1 kilometer sled ride on the dog, I tell you, it's like dying and going to heaven. You must try it. Now you have, now what happens? Vicariously, you have experienced, right? What you heard through your ears, which is called you, the perceiver of the description of the cruise. Now the experience of your friend vicariously becomes your experience, and it leaves behind an impression in your antakaran. What? I tell you, as soon as this COVID is over, and when I have vacation in summertime, 2021, June, we will all take vaccine for COVID-19. And we want to do what? We want to take and go to Alaska. As good as dying and going to heaven, but we want to come back to Indiana, isn't it? Thus, every experience, direct or vicarious, leaves behind an impression in my antakaran, and this is what we call it vasana. These vasanas later on again manifest as a desire, right? Every one of us listening here, right? When your friend told you about that new Chinese restaurant and said the Shashwan food is so good, the spicing and everything, and the eggplant, the lady knows how the Indians like it, and she makes it just right to the taste of Indians, and you love it. Now you go there and you eat it once. You say, my God, this is so good. I've never eaten Chinese food like this. What happens? Leaves behind an impression. After 2 weeks, again, when you are ready to go, let's go out and eat today. You're going to think of, let's go and eat Indian food. No, hey, let's go to that Chinese we really enjoy. Why does that happen? The vasanas or the impression that is left behind from the first experience of the Chinese food that I had heard about from my friend, now having personally experienced, These vasana manifest as a desire. Once the desire comes, let us go. Remember, it is 3 p.m. and your wife has already said, tonight we are going out. I ain't cooking today. So no problem, we'll go over there. But if we have another couple, that would be really nice. 4 of us or 6 of us, a lot of company, nice food, it will go very well. So you call your friend and he says, yeah, certainly we will join you. Where are you planning to go? We are going to the Chinese restaurant, which is very good. Oh, we were only yesterday, today, Saturday, Friday night, we were there. Can we go to this restaurant? And he gives some other name. Now what happens? Immediately your desire is thwarted, isn't it? You wanted to go to that place. Does that Dukhi? You almost want to tell the friend, you went there yesterday and you didn't call me and I'm calling you today. Think of it. Vasanas manifest as a desire. Once the desire comes, it creates a vikshepa, disturbance, otherwise called agitations in the mind. I want it, I want it, I want the Chinese food, I want the Chinese food. And then you turn to your wife. If nobody wants to join us, that's okay. You and I will go, though we will get bored, but at least we will enjoy the food. Thus, and then you actually drive down and you eat. Now, when that food comes in front of you and you start eating, especially that eggplant, which is made just the way you like it, and you bite it, now what happens? You put that in your mouth, you are in 7th heaven. Your desire is fulfilled. Desire-born agitations are gone. When the mind has no agitations, desire is fulfilled, mind and intellect is quiet. You and I experience ecstasy, joy, or happiness. And immediately, what do we think? Happy Chinese food, isn't it? But think of it. There is another person. Let's say your mother-in-law has come from India. And you say, Mummy, this Chinese food is so good, you come with me. And Mummy comes with you. And you are thoroughly enjoying. And she takes a bite or two. And she says, Mummy, you don't like it? No. In fact, that which creates the mind is the very food that creates nothing but agitations in your mother's mind. That what a terrible food these people are eating. She's saying as soon as the dinner is over, we already have that stuff ready for dosa. As soon as I go home, I'm going to make 2 dosa and something and have dosa and idli. What kind of food are they eating? The same thing has not got the capacity to satisfy each one of us, isn't it? That which satisfies me does not satisfy another person. But when it satisfies me, I think that that is where the happiness is. But if the happiness is in Chinese food, everybody who eats the Chinese food will be happy. That is not the case. Then where is the happiness? Isn't it? Right? Just about 30 years ago, when we used to travel, remember those days where the first 13 seats in the years ago, entire plane was smoking. You can sit wherever and smoke. Then the first 10, 12 seats were no smoking. Now no smoking. Think of it. Now the one who enjoys smoking after a nice sumptuous dinner, he takes a cigarette and he smokes, and he's in heaven. And he thinks, boy, what is the use of having the nicest of meal if we end up with one cigarette? And those of us who cannot stand smoke, we get irritated by even a little whiff of the smoke, isn't it? Meaning what? Nothing in the world, whether it is food, whether it is cigarette, whether it is woman, whether it is man, nothing in the world contains true joy. Please understand. I project joy on somebody or something, and then I become happy. Haven't you heard an individual going to the church, hey Krishna, I have been married 11 years and it has been nothing but hell. Hey Bhagwan, I wanted divorce from that Rakshas. He's a terrible person. I'm just so tired. Bhagwan, please grant me divorce. And she comes out. And there is another woman who walks in and also is praying, Bhagwan, that angel, the day he gets divorced, I want to marry him. Person remaining the same. His wife is tired, wants a divorce. And another one says, the minute he is divorced, I want to marry him. Now, does that person has contained joy or not? Think. You all have heard about Mahatma Gandhi and Churchill, right? Mahatma Gandhi wanted India to be India. Everybody knows that. So many times they met. Mahatma Gandhi, fakir, just a dhoti cloth, thin guy. Please understand, Mahatma Gandhi was not a handsome person, tall, but you can see his dream when you look at the picture. And he and Churchill will be talking for hours at a time. And but Gandhi, tell me, what do you want? And Gandhiji will say, look, Churchill, it is very easy. I want you to leave my India and give India to us. Tense conversation for hours. And at 5 p.m. when everything is over, and both of them along with their group, when they come out, the entire group is exhausted. Gandhiji is exhausted. Churchill is exhausted. And their secretaries have kept a bottle of scotch, ice, soda, and a nice thermos full of Gujarati tea, which is nothing but hot sugar water with tea and masala and lots of ginger. That is Gujarati tea, but primarily sugar. Now they both come out. Gandhiji, are you tired? Yes, I am exhausted. Mr. Churchill, are you exhausted? I am exhausted. Now you give tea to Churchill and scotch to Gandhiji. What will happen? Both will become miserable, isn't it? But Churchill will go to the bottle of scotch. He will take a sip and say, let me sit down and finish at least one or two bags. Gandhiji will take hot tea and takes one sip. It has ginger, it has tulsi leaves, it has the lemongrass, all the, it is so nice. And finishes one cup and he's doing some hot in the thermos, give me one more cup. For Gandhiji, happiness is in that tea. For Churchill, it is in the scotch. Change it, both are miserable. Friends, what I'm driving at is, unless you and I sit down and think, number one, what we saw is the BMI is continuously changing. OET is continuously changing. And if I, the perceiver, feeler, thinker, tries to eke out happiness by contacting the OET through BMI and thinking this will keep me happy forever, it is impossible because body, mind, and intellect is changing. Object, emotions, and thoughts are changing. Not only that, nothing in the world really contains an ounce of joy. The joy is all my projection. Gandhiji feels that tea gives me joy. Churchill says, you and your husband think that, look, Chinese food has happiness, and your mother-in-law thinks masala dosa and idli has happiness. Chinese food is nothing but miserable. Is this what you feed my son? No wonder ye dubla patla ho gaya hai. Think of it, friends. Once an individual truly understands this, he no longer goes to Krishna and says, Krishna, please give me green card. Please, I want to marry her, or I want this or that. because he knows even if Krishna says Tathastu, even if he gives you what you want, my life's experience tell me everything that I ran after, I got it. When I ran after it, I said, Bhagwan, if you give me just green card, I will never ask you for anything. Once you green card, he says, now Bhagwan, I just want my boss to give me 4 months off so I can go to India and carry. I'm talking about those who came in 60s and 70s, right? Then you came here, you who told Bhagwan that once I get green card, I will never ask you for anything. Now you are here and married. Bhagwan, look, I've been married to one daughter. Daughter comes, Bhagwan says, but Bhagwan says, now you won't. No, Bhagwan, I won't come. Daughter is 2 years. Bhagwan, you know, she's one son. Thus, every time we get fulfilled for a little while, and then we feel empty within, and we want something, and we run to Bhagwan. But an intelligent man, like Isaac Newton, who inquired, a true religious person who inquires, he says, Bhagwan, I can ask you forever, but whatever you give me is changing. And I, the one asker, the one who asks for the body, mind, and intellect is also changing. So no matter what you give me, there is no way I can be happy. So Bhagwan, if you really can make me happy, I want you. Because if I have you with me, then I'm always happy. Thus the inquiry begins. Who is Bhagwan and where is he? And as we discovered, let's review the law. An effect can be without a cause. Cause is one. It is in and through all the effects. Gold is one. Ornaments are many. It is in and through all the ornaments. Take out the cause. The effect doesn't remain. The entire Brahmand is there. Where does it come from? Whoever he be, he is the cause. The universe is an effect. And in universe, there are plants, animals, human beings, and inert things. But cause appears in many forms. And the cause is in and through the effect. Gold is in and through all ornaments. Ocean is in every wave. Clay is in every pot. So the cause, the Narayan, the creator, how far is he from you and I? How far is gold from bangles? How far is gold from necklace? That far away is Narayan from you and me. Think. Cause in and through the effect. Effect cannot be. Remove the cause, effect cannot remain. I see this universe, so there must be a cause. Effect cannot be without cause functioning, pervading the effect. How far in that cause, because we know not right now, we call him Bhagwan. How is that Bhagwan? As far away as the ocean from the waves, or gold from the ornaments, or mitti, clay from the pot. Be Krishna, Narayan, Bhagwan, whatever you call it, or call him Om. Right? So there is no quarrel between Muslims, Christians, we call him Om. That Om, the Father in heaven, Narayan, Vishnu, pervades everywhere the entire effect. And he pervades in and through the entire effect, meaning in and through every one of us. Once I come to know that if he pervades in and through me, when the necklace identifies with the shape of the necklace and the form and the name, I'm separate from gold. But when it understands that I'm known separate, in essence, I'm gold alone with the name and form. He no longer looks for gold its cause. Right now, you and I are looking for that cause, feeling empty. And whenever we run after the world, temporarily feeling. But our very nature is nothing but Satchit Ananda, the very cause, Narayan, whose very nature is Ananda. But alas, we are seeking that Ananda, not knowing it is my nature. So how is it my nature? And how can I attain it? We will see tomorrow. Now, friends, tomorrow, for the first 10 minutes or so, I would like to show you recently, some of you may have seen, but most of you, Swami Tejomayananji, who was the former head of Chinmaya Mission, and now it's Swarupananda. Tejomayananji recently released one app called Gita 365 in Hindi and English. I would like to show it to you for the first 10 or so minutes, and then we will continue this as to how we can really attain Santi as well as Sukha by removing our ignorance. We'll see that tomorrow. So again, tomorrow, I believe it's the same time.